everybody, and welcome back to the channel. For today's video, I wanted to talk to you about sovereignty after being with a narcissist, after you leave the relationship. So let's jump in. So when you are with a narcissist, you are stuck, you're in solitude, whether you like it or not, but it's not really something that you enjoy. It's not a pleasant, peaceful spot. It is a place of torture, of rumination, a stasis, of chilling fields. There's nothing growing. There's no life. There's no new friendships, relationships. There's no creativity. There's no love. Everything seems cold and chilly. It's like you're with Chilly Willy or something, you know, you're with this Ice King or Ice Queen all the time, and you just keep trying to pour out your essence to them, and that's how they become you, because you know there's injury there, so you keep pouring out, hoping for change, right? And as you continue to pour out, you're getting, the more you pour out, it's like the top of a drink or something that hasn't been stirred up yet. You put the pack in there and you haven't stirred it up yet, so the top is going to be clear water, and then it gets a little muddy in the middle, and then it's real thick with the sediment. And that's how it is with you pouring out your life essence. You start by starting from the top, where it's, okay, I got that to freely give, I give that every day kind of essence, you know. But then it turns into, you get deeper with it because that's not working. So it's like you're breathing deeper, you're thinking deeper, and you're letting out deeper things of you, and that becomes your fingerprint, your essence. And as you get down to the bottom layer of that drink that hasn't been stirred, it's real thick, and it has all the nutrients in it, and that's where you really lose yourself, or you can, if you're not strong-willed, strong-minded. A lot of people that date these individuals, the narcissist types, they end up sometimes in short stays in psychiatric wards. I've known many. I haven't, but I know many, that because I've spoken to a lot of people that have dealt with this stuff over the years, and I've heard many stories where people, when they broke up with their narcissist ex, they went inpatient for like 3 days or something. The narcissist does it too, so don't be fooled. But they do it to themselves, and they do it to others as much as they can. They want you off balance, is really, to say the least. But that's where it starts. You know, it's like a chair with 3 legs. You started out with 4 when you met them, and they knock one out. So you're constantly trying to balance that thing while they keep hammering you. And slowly but surely, the load on your back of stress and just trying to keep life afloat, just trying to keep things regular, becomes a hard journey, a blood, sweat, and tears for every move that you make. And it's got to start becoming more calculated, because you don't have as much expenditure as you did when you started with this individual. You're running thin everywhere, psychologically, physically, mentally, health-wise. You're not there. Your time is none. You have no time, and that's because it's all stuck in an imprisonment. You know, the narcissist is in imprisonment themselves. All they do is hurt everybody and destroy, and they are self-serving. So they run off lust, and everything's got to be self-serving for them. It's got to be in a lustful nature of survival and feeling good anytime they can. That's why they become addicts a lot of times. And a lot of times they go overboard with certain things, like love partner relationships. They can't just have one at a time. They run several at once, and they lie to everybody. And a lot of it is because they're self-serving, and they want to get the benefit that comes from it. And because they don't feel any feelings of remorse or love, very little of those types of feelings that humanity feels, They have an easier time shuffling people around and lying to them to get whatever the prize is at the end of the road with them. And they don't care who they have to hurt or how bad it's got to be, as long as they walk away with their initial vision, which was whatever commodity it was, lustful desire that they came to get. And that's how the narcissist is. That's how they operate, and that's how they live their life. To where when us, people of humanity, and I'm talking about people that still feel love, joy, peace, gentleness, kindness, and good self-control, and care about making sure you don't hurt other individuals in the process, taking care of your brethren, so to speak, and not being just an accuser of the brethren like they are. We have to think about our vision is based on what we would like or desire. So we build a vision, but we also build it with fruit. We build it with all of those fruit in mind, those things in mind. The love, joy, peace are all involved in it. So ours is more intricate, and it's going to be more captivating, it's going to be more interesting, and it's going to be more creative. It's going to be more of a 5D, to where that's why they're always in a 3D only, because they don't have any real creative, captivating thoughts or ideas, because they don't care about the fruit of the spirit or what true unity and true humanity desires to have. Because true humanity knows without the fruit in and around all of these objects or things and accomplishments and titles, and how well we can present ourselves, even if that's not who we truly are. Because the narcissist presents themselves really good in the very beginning, but that's not who they are. It's a facade, it's a lie, it's a fantasy. So when we put all of that in mind, with all that in mind, we know without having those good, fruitful things involved in it, it's going to be useless. We're not going to be happy, and it's not going to be a desire of ours. Our desires are based on some sort of unity and goodness when it comes to humanity. That's why I say they're almost not humanity. They're almost like that show Visitors, where you unzip their meat suit, the humanity suit, and there's a lizard under there, a cold-hearted lizard who chews on their prey, and their prey is humanity. But they're fitting in with us as if they are us, and they're not. They're cyborgs, clones. They're copycats, they're clout chasers, they're haters. They're filled with haterade, and they're only out to enjoy the fruits of your labor. And they're lazy. They don't want to put any work in, and they don't care about developing themselves. They would be okay with just doing the same old thing every day, as long as it had lustful rewards and they could get new sources of supply often. They wouldn't care. That would be fine for them. But they're insatiable, or the dark energy inside them is insatiable. So it's always constantly unhappy, and it's always searching for more and more lust, or more and more whatever they need at the time. So when they come to you, they need certain things, but you can never fill up a black hole. And that's what the narcissist is. They're a black hole, because when you search for things out of lust and not love, you will never be filled. In fact, it makes that hole wider and deeper and more inky black than ever before. It's just a terrible thing, but that's how they are. But when you're dealing with something that's benevolent as they are, and as evil as they become, there's really nothing to do but to disengage and walk away and deal with whatever the repercussions are going to be, and keep it moving. Don't look back, and learn how to stay away from them. Learn the early signs, because there's going to be another one coming to you, and that's how it works. With new levels come new devils, and I know the ones that I have defeated. Every time I defeated one, of course, until I woke up to what exactly it was, I didn't know. I just knew they were crazy, or they needed a lot of psychological and spiritual help. But until I woke up, I just knew that each time they got stronger or more powerful in their evil. They're not more powerful than God or goodness. And love is the strongest energy in this world system. That's why God says he is love. And That's why Christ represented love, because without God's love, he wouldn't have came down here to sacrifice himself so that we could have a pathway out. The truth of it is, it doesn't matter if you have a bunch of faith and hope. If it's faith, hope, and love, right? But the greatest of these is love. What he's saying in that, and that's because if God didn't have love and all he had was faith and hope, then his son would have never felt the need to sacrifice himself for all of humanity to give us a pathway out. Also, or if God didn't have love, then we wouldn't have faith and hope. It wouldn't matter. We wouldn't be here. Or we would be here and be damned in a damnation state with no help. Because if he didn't have the love, he wouldn't have done that. We wouldn't be able to use faith and hope for too much. The sad thing with the narcissist is, in the place that they are, the way that they live, and what they're dealing with, it's almost like they are walking zombies, man, with no answer to change. It's like they almost decided before they got here to Earth who and what they were going to be, because I don't believe when you have a child that starts this stuff at 2 and 3 years old, according to the ideology of things, this just started as a child, or that God would believe that it would be fair. God's a fair God. And I'm not going to force God on nobody, but I'm just saying, I spent a lot of time on this, and I think what we did, our testing was, after God created us in the spirit, we still had to be placed in our mother's womb. And whatever decisions we made between being created in the spirit realm and placed in our mother's womb. And probably everything strategically that we grew up under was fair for us, based on our decision before we got here. And some people decided they didn't want to do right when they were created in the spirit. And it showed up as soon as they got here in the physical realm. Because you can have people that grow up in all kinds of trauma and they end up doing really well for themselves and having a lot of morals and ethics and living for God. And then you have others that grow up under the same type of trauma and they become a narcissist. You know, it's really perception too. It's like, but your innate true self is what you draw from. And of course you need salvation. That's your ticket out of here. But that's my opinion of it. I believe that we're just walking out who we chose to be in the spirit realm before we were in our mother's womb. And people can get jaded, but they still have their 9 fruits of the spirit, their innate true self, and their inside voice, their creativity, and their intuition. But when they get jaded, they start to use their mind, will, and their emotions to operate their soul completely, instead of looking to their innate true self, because they get blinded by it. Because they are jaded, they're injured, they're pissed off, and they have no hope and faith at that time. But something may happen over time, and they may revert back to it. It could be a near unaliving. It could be God touches their heart or something. And they start to, instead of looking from their lower self, their ego, their mind, will, and their emotions, because those are tools for your innate spirit to be the main body, your soul, to operate. That's what gets saved. And they change. That's why you see some evil people that seemed evil change. And of course, salvation changes people. But those were people that were jaded. They still had their innate true self. They didn't sacrifice their truth. The narcissist sacrifices their truth. They're all truth. Their true self. Their innate spirit. And they think their mind, will, and emotions is their spirit or their soul. And it's not. Those are tools to assist. But they are living in that now. And your mind, will, and emotions are your flesh. What the Bible would call your flesh. So when you're operating in your mind, will, and emotions, you're your lower self, your ego self, and your injured self, whatever you want to call it, but it's your fleshly self. So your mind, will, and emotions gets with your, it's almost like their mind, will, and emotions, they get with the flesh, the meat suit, and if you don't have your innate true self anymore, because you sacrificed it for the false self, then you have no way to get redemption. That's my opinion of it. because your innate true self is what gets saved. And that's what makes you special. That's why they're always copycats, because they have no individuality. What gives you individuality, your fingerprint, is your innate true self. And mine never changed. I was always, from 3, 5 years old, whatever, to now that I can, any kind of memories that I do have. I don't believe I changed. I was jaded. I didn't operate, the best way, but my thoughts were the same. I still never wanted to hurt people. I still always wanted to thrive and succeed and put work in and love and care for people around me and try not to injure and hurt them in the process of me elevating. The narcissist doesn't have any of that. When you sacrifice that, you sacrifice those fruits of the spirit. And those are what makes us humanity. And what makes us unique is your innate true self. And that you don't decide after you get here. You're just walking this out now. Your life on earth is walking out what you were always going to be. And if you were going to find salvation, you were going to find it. Period. Before you left here. Or God, it was going to find you, because God finds you and gives it to you. And if you weren't, you're going to end up either a narcissist or just a regular person that decided they wanted to be lukewarm. And this is just for the courts of heaven. So after we leave, we can't say we didn't do it. We can't say we didn't have a chance, because we all did, and it's all being recorded. So anyway, that's that. You want to be sovereign. Sovereignty is to make your own decisions, to form your own life without encroaching on others and not bullying them, to live by your own birthright and not having anybody else walk on yours or try to control yours. That's sovereignty. And to live by your sovereignty is through heaven, not through earth. You're not a citizen. You're not living by maritime rule. You're living by the heavens rules, which are far supersede whatever these worldly ones do. It's also how you manifest through your faith. Thanks for watching.